Hey, everyone. It is your favorite CEO, Miss Flo, back with another episode of Neon Mike where the conversation just glows. I'm so excited for this next guest. They have won three, count them, three Telly Awards for their work with the Martin Luther King Jr. animation on PBS. God bless PBS. Hope it's still here in the future. But I have my guest with me, Josh Bullock from Playwatch. Welcome aboard. I'm so happy to see you.
No, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk about what we're doing.
And yes, there's so much to talk about. For those that don't know, Playwatch has been producing these shorts, Black History Beats,
Yeah.
where they're using hip hop music to educate our youth about Black history.
hmm
I definitely appreciate this because I'm a teacher myself. Although high school, I do occasionally work with our little itty bitty ones, and I do see their reaction when like Gracie Corner comes
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean? So there is power in music. It just puts a smile on my face to see young and youthful animation that looks like us.
Yeah.
So I definitely applaud like what you're doing. And I'm
Thank you.
curious, like, how did you get started?
Yeah, so I actually my story goes all the way back to when I was a kid. I always loved animation. I was watching cartoons ever since. I had pneumonia when I was a kid. And I believe I was like 10, 9 or 10. And when I came home from the doctor or from the hospital, my dad had just gotten us Cartoon Network. So before that, we really weren't watching, we watched, I think, ABC or stuff like that. But we didn't have like cartoons like all the time, which is crazy because now cartoons are everywhere. Um, and I mean, it makes me seem old. I'm not that old. But yeah, so we got Cartoon Network, and I was like, oh my gosh, all these cartoons, everything that's here, I love it. Growing up as a kid, I watched, again, going back to the ABC one Saturday morning, and they used to have these little blocks where they used to play something called Schoolhouse Rock. And so that's where a lot of my my education came from was like Schoolhouse Rock doing these really cool shorts, where they're teaching you grammar, teaching you science, stuff like that. So, anyways, I watched a lot of animation. I watched, anime as a kid, like Dragon Ball, stuff like that. And then I just always wanted to do it. And, for me being a kid growing up in Indiana, I really didn't see animation around here. So I never thought that I could actually do it until I graduated from high school and realized I could go to college for this and this could actually turn into a career. So that's what I did. And from there, when I graduated college, I started doing the YouTube thing and just making YouTube videos. I started I made like a horror channel that kind of did like parodies of Five Nights at Freddy's and all that stuff because that's when that was really, really popular. I mean, it's still popular to this day, but that's when it was blowing up. And then from there, went to work for a studio called Smash Bits Animation down in Evansville, Indiana. And it was there where I really got a lot of great experience doing stuff for more major YouTube networks. So I worked with like Machinima, did stuff for Defy, and then also was able to do stuff for a studio called Wild Brain out in Europe, where I was art director on a children's show called Rum. So that was kind of my first push into doing children's media. So then I left Smash Bits around I did 2020 and then decided to do just freelance for a little bit. But then my former professor at my college, St. Francis, where I graduated, he he was like, "Hey, let's start a studio," and that's where Boom Animation slash Playwatch was born. And then we just wanted to do stuff that educated kids, but we wanted to really tap into diversity and really wanted to kind of bridge that gap when it came to diverse content. And that's where we are now.
That is your resume is absolutely impressive. And to see that you like cut your teeth like in a whole nother country, go tell me a little bit more about your time in Europe. Like, what was it like being in that space, and how have you incorporated what you learned from your time in Europe into Play Watch now?
I didn't go to Europe.
Oh, my
Um,
bad.
no, that's okay. I didn't go. I wish I would have. They were based in Europe, but because of how things were working with us and doing the stuff we did, they contracted us to make this show for them. So I mean, I communicated with them. We were able to do stuff, with them, and I mean that's where I learned Toon Boom, and got heavy into learning, rigging and stuff like that. But no, I was not fortunate enough to be able to go to Europe and experience it. But it was a great experience, just kind of learning how the pipeline goes for like children's media.
Nice, nice. And when you spoke about Schoolhouse of Rock, I definitely see their influence in the animation, just like in the art style. And that's where it kind of like really took me back because I was first introduced like I'm just a bill,
Yep.
just and only a bill. I
Yeah.
wonder how that song would go now in our
Well,
current administration. But
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what,
You can do the remix. You can do the remix
yeah.
because definitely we have some politicians that I think would be great to highlight with your animation. So far, you guys have done Martin Luther King Jr. You had Betsy Ross and what's number 42? Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry. Go
Betsy
ahead.
Coleman. My bad, Betsy Coleman. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, why did you pick those figures for your first three?
Um, Oh, that's a good question. So for Martin Luther King, that was obvious. That was a given. I think just because everybody kind of knows who Martin Luther King Jr. is, I felt like that was an easy foray for us to get Black History Beats out there. When it came to Jackie Robinson, growing up personally, I was inspired by Jackie Robinson. I played baseball pretty much my entire life until college, and then I, played football. But and I was always inspired by Jackie Robinson and his story, and I always wanted to be him. So I felt like that was just a natural. Another one he's well known as well. And then I felt like that could be a good way again for us to kind of enter into different categories. So we do like Schoolhouse Rock did. Schoolhouse Rock had math, they had science. With Black History Beats, we can have sports, Black athletes in sports, or Black scientists, Black activists for Martin Luther King Jr. And then with Bessie Coleman, that was just something where I didn't know a ton about Bessie Coleman, and I, was trying to do some research on some more, especially trying to get into more female, female people that we could add into Black History Beats. Because the next one that I want to do is Ida B. Wells, which a lot of people don't
Mm.
know about Ida B. Wells. And so like I want to try to, we try to go back and forth. So it's like, okay, we do a guy, then we do, a girl, then we do a guy. So just going back and forth, trying to make sure we're hitting all of our targets. But Bessie Coleman, I felt like that was an interesting one. And because, we learned about Amelia Earhart, but we didn't
Mm.
learn about Bessie Coleman,
Right.
who was killing it in what she was doing. So like I just felt that was really cool for us to kind of do that. And yeah, I think as we move forward, we just want to kind of put in lesser known historical Black figures out there for kids to know who these people are and know how much they've contributed to not just the US, but the world.
No, and I definitely feel that. I would be really excited for the Ida B. Wells because I have a journalism program and we named our awards after her because of
Mm,
her impact and her influence. So I can't wait till that comes out. For those that don't know, Ida B. Wells, she exposed lynching
yeah,
definitely, and she before Rosa Parks, she refused to get up from the white section in the train, I believe. So
she was
I
a beast.
definitely, yeah, like she was pretty fearless, and I think that that is someone you could definitely go for.
Yeah,
I really like the Betsy Coleman because like y'all did a sample of Bob's airplanes,
yeah.
and I was just like, that was so genius. Like it just like came together like so well. Who was the rapper? Um,
The rapper, oh Lord, hold on, let me get his name. He changed his name. His name is Devon. Um, I think he changed his rap name. Um, but he is no, he did a so basically he's the one that not only he rapped on it, but then he also I think his last name is Massey. Um he we found him through basically one of our partners who joined us on Playwatch. He knew Devin. We were like, hey, we need somebody who could do music. He was like, oh, I have this guy who and his story is actually pretty heartwarming. He's a guy that went to jail. And when he got out, he really was trying to find a way to do stuff, to do positive things because he has kids now,
Mm.
and he was like, I just want to make up for the stuff that I was doing and
Oh.
have a positive impact on people. And so we were like, oh yeah, no, this would be awesome. So he sent us some of his music, and yeah, like we were just blown away. And that's when we were like, okay, yeah, we need to get this guy on some of our stuff. And basically, that's the biggest thing, and that's been our biggest hurdle is the funding part of it because we want to. Because these first couple of songs, our business partner actually just paid for them. He was like, "Hey, and Charlie's a cool dude. He's a white guy out of Texas, um, who loves the idea of Black History beats, and he was like, I'll pay it because we need to get these done and get them out there." So yeah, we just want to get more funding in so we can actually pay this guy, especially what he's owed for doing the songs that he was able to do. Um, and yeah, just to continue that partnership. So that's the biggest hurdle that we're facing right now.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, you did meet your goal with your Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It was originally set to 6,000. You went over that. So that's a very good sign because, being in this blurred space and meeting a lot of indie creators, the struggle is constantly have to rely on like a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter to get your projects off the ground. How are you able to actually reach your goal? Like what's your secret of getting people to believe in your product?
So the one thing that was really a success for Black History Beats was I reached out to a lot of people I knew. Um, I was able to garner people, and again, just working with my business partners at Playwatch, we all kind of just rallied people we knew, and we were just like, hey, this is what we're trying to do, and could you guys support this thing? And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to Kickstarter. You'll get a lot of people who will be interested just because there's tons of people surfing Kickstarter to support stuff. And especially if you can become like a project Kickstarter loves, then you're kind of plastered on their front page,
Mm.
and so people will see it. And so that was really cool to just see a lot. I mean, there was quite a bit of people that were not, we didn't reach out to, that were just like, yeah, we love this and we want to support it. Um, but a lot of it was family and friends and people who just believed in it and wanted to see, like, again, like, how you kind of were, just want to see Black representation. Ooh, I can't talk. Representation. And, and just kind of fill that need and that void that we have when it comes to, education and getting kids interested in Black history.
That's amazing. And the fact that you guys made it onto PBS, like how did that happen?
So, and just going back into like the beginning of Black History Beats. So I originally pitched this again to my professor, who he doesn't do that anymore. We're doing Play Watch. He had a class and basically needed a project, and so I brought to him Black History Beats, and I was like, hey, I want to do this on Martin Luther King Jr. And he was like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah, let's get them on it. So essentially we had the students kind of do like an internship thing where they were taught pipeline of animation. They did all the background work. I gave them the character designs and then the idea of it. And then they ran with it. I mean, they designed MLK, which that design of MLK, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Um, and they designed the background, they animated it. We had originally, Devin wasn't with us at this time. We had another guy do the music, Kibwe, who crushed it. He did an amazing job on the initial music we had for it. And then my professor he knows people. So he was like, hey, I'm just gonna send this to a guy at PBS in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we'll see what happens. And PBS was like, oh, this is awesome. We can just show it in between our programming again, like how Schoolhouse Rock was back in the day. And that's just what happened. And then they aired it for a couple years. I don't know if they still do it, but for a couple of years, they were airing it every MLK Day, which was really cool.
Aw.
And then that, of course, he entered it into the Telly Awards, and then we won that. Kidway won an award for his music. So it was really cool. It was a really cool process, and everybody that was a part of that just nailed it. So
I mean, that's awesome. First of all, isn't student labor the best? I use it all the time. I have like my former students helping me with my publication and everything else. It's just it sounds like you have a strong support system. And what I'm taking away from this is like you can't shoulder this alone. Like it
no.
takes a lot of hands, committed hands, to really make something like this happen. And like I'm just curious because my biggest concern now under the current administration that is working pretty hard to erase Black history and really censor education. I'm curious how has that impacted your projects as of right now?
Yeah. So when it comes to the current administration, so we actually were in line to get a nice grant this year. I can't remember what the grant was called, but we were really hoping we would get that because that would definitely help us to produce more content, because we don't just have Black History Beats. We have Gabby Galactic, Kimbe, and some other stuff that we've actually been wanting to get animated or just turn into books like we did with Black History Beats. And we didn't get it. And that's because, of course, the Department of Education, all the nonsense that was going on there. And they basically told us, sorry, you guys got the grant, but we just don't know when the money's going to come. And we were like, great. That is really awesome. So yeah, that really did put a hamper on things. And I mean, right now the idea has been to try to go around it. So again, the Kickstarter was a way of getting around it. Um, and then we've also had we've been blessed to be able to work with Lamont Rucker. So if you know who Lamont Rucker is, he's been in a lot of Tyler Perry stuff. And Greenleaf is the show that I love the most that he's in. And he's been a part of wanting to help and wanting to be a part of Playwatch for a very long time. So he got on board, and we're currently working with him to get around all of this nonsense, because we just kind of have this feeling like it's going to be like this for a while. So we have to figure out a way around it. And I mean, that's the great thing about Black resilience, is like we've been able to maneuver around a lot of stuff that other groups of people can't figure out how to do it. So that's been our main goal, is just how can we shift around all this nonsense that's going on right now.
Yeah, that I've been so pissed. You mean to tell me that you worked hard, actually got the grant, and they're
Yeah.
just like, no money for you.
Nope. Nope.
Like I'm writing because like that's like so unfair, and
Yeah.
especially because like on top of that, we don't know what's gonna happen with PBS at all, because
Yeah.
I think their funding was cut too. So you're losing another platform that was like really showcasing your work
Yeah.
on the regular.
Yeah.
So Jesus, like how are you able to, I guess, still stay afloat mentally, because those are a lot of obstacles to really overcome. Like how are you just like able to still keep your mind in the game?
I think the biggest thing for me is just really just trying to keep my hands in multiple projects. So like, Black History Beats, we're with Playwatch and Black History Beats right now, we're in full funding mode. So we're like, all right, we need to raise money. How can we do this? How can we again maneuver around the administration? so we can raise this funding. We are actually in the midst of releasing an app, so we're testing it right now with teachers, and I'll coordinate with you as well to see if you'd be
Oh,
interested in just checking it out.
yes, please do.
Yeah,
I will gladly send this to some of the ELA teachers at Friendship,
yeah.
because so Friendship This Network, we have this online reading book club where we have the students, they pick their favorite book, and then I record them and they do a little book review.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
like, and our funding was affected too. Our budget was cut badly. Like my
Yeah,
boss, shout out to Ms. Kaufman, has been applying for grants left and right.
yeah,
And it's like I adore the, the online book club and working with the little kids, giving them that exposure to not just reading, but to like video production.
yeah,
They're so adorable. My favorite book is, you know what I mean? So I
yeah,
I love doing that and just, building their skills. And it sucks because it's like she told me, like, I don't know if we'll be able to do this year at all. And that really broke my heart.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Plus, like, working with little kids is a nice palate cleanser after working with high
Yes,
school students. No
yeah.
shade to my students. I still love y'all. But working with little kids is adorable. It brings a smile to my face. So to really hear that, and then it's just like, can we give kids a chance? It doesn't
Yeah,
seem like, they be given a chance. And they do. I've seen them like pick up books that have, like, they see themselves. They have characters that look like them. And it's like, it's very empowering. So if you're willing to, like, I will gladly be your guinea pig for real, to like really work with, like, to see how it integrates with the schools. Like, I'll help you with that for real.
oh, definitely. I mean, because yeah, that's the biggest thing right now is we're trying to work with teachers. That's the biggest thing about Playwatch. Like, we want to work alongside teachers. We're not coming in and being like a lot of these other programs that are like, hey, this is the standard and this is what you need to use. We're the standard now. It's okay. How can we work with you? The biggest thing that we push is localized media. So the idea of like creating media that's catered to where these kids are. So like for me here in Indianapolis, one of the things that I'm working on currently and getting myself more out there into the city is to be like, hey, can we partner with the Pacers? Can we partner with the Colts? Can you guys sponsor boxes? We have, these, and actually I can show you. So we have these. This was part of the Kickstarter.
Ooh.
These people, the higher backers got these really cool boxes. These are the smaller versions. There's bigger ones, but they come with the books, and then they come with a poster. They come with a concept art book of like the first Black History beats we ever did. So the Martin Luther King one. I mean, we were just trying to, and bookmarks and all kinds of stuff. So we were just trying to give them a lot of really cool stuff. And and that's something that we were thinking about. Is like, hey, what if we did boxes that were sponsored by the Pacers or sponsored by the Children's Museum here in Indianapolis, and then take that out to other places and do the same thing. Do the same thing in Atlanta or do the same thing in Houston, where this media is catered to these kids and they're seeing things in their city that that they see every day in these boxes or on an animation. So again, that's kind of where we are. We're trying to really build that out with Playwatch. And again, it's just like I said, it's just navigating the climate right now. And it is kind of disheartening with PBS, being gone. And now I'm seeing, I mean, I saw Sesame Street just unload all their stuff to YouTube. And it's just like this crazy. It's crazy that we're here and where this world is going.
Yeah. And so I would say, dear Washington Commanders, because I'm in DC,
Oh
if
yeah.
you would
Yeah.
be willing to sponsor and like really help like local schools, not just Friendship. I think like with as many schools as you possibly can, I think this would be a really dope venture, because our students need to know our history. It does
Yeah.
not begin or end with slavery.
Yeah.
We have so many historical figures in all caveats of careers and subject areas that need to be talked about. And uh there was a part in your message in the Kickstarter. It's just like, we don't want to keep talking about like the same figures over and over again, because it's like, students lose interest. Like, we
Yeah,
need to talk about figures that are kind of been lost in history, or they're not uh really given their kudos, for real, for real.
yeah,
So, like, Washington Commanders, I have supported you throughout everything. Still been a dedicated fan. Our family has been a dedicated fan this whole time. So we would appreciate if you would show Playwatch some love and collaborate with school. So I would really love to see that. I think that's a great idea.
yeah. And I mean, and going back to that message of showing different things. I mean, there's people. It's called Black History Beats, but anybody who has fought for activism for the people, that's who we want to shine light on. I'm spacing on the guy's name, but the guy who literally stood with at the Olympics and held his fist up. I
Mm,
mean, he was ostracized in Australia. Like, they destroyed his life, and like, people need to know about him. There's
right.
tons of white Americans who, I mean, were ostracized or worse, who we don't uphold, which is insane, because instead we uphold terrible people.
Mm.
Um, but those people need their voices heard as well, because they stood for a good cause. So like, it's not just focusing on that. I mean, that's the main thing. But I definitely want to reach out and expand that as well eventually. But we gotta do the one thing right first.
Yeah, I
So
mean, yeah, I get it. Start small and then really build up, because I do feel like some of the pitfalls with a lot of early starters, that they take on too much too
yeah,
soon. And it's like, you really have to pace yourself as you are really on the come up. You know what I mean? Have the ideas, have like the back burner, but like, it's really baby steps.
yeah.
So I totally understand. Um, I would. I'm curious to see. We talked about like Ida B. Wells, but who else would you love to just animate? Who's another Black historical figure that you would love to highlight on your show?
So the running list that I have right now, just because I was like, okay, I want to get these done, and then I want to kind of get the next round of list. So it's Ida B. Wells. Muhammad Ali was thrown around as one. Again, we're trying to get figures that people know, because that's
Mhm.
the way to get people engaged. Of course, I want to do one on Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. Um, so I mean, those are kind of the ones right now, on the top of my head, that I want to do. But I also want to do one, more of like a bigger episode that's more of like a musical on like Black Wall Street, but not talking about what happened
Mm.
to Black Wall Street, talking about how successful Black Wall Street was, um, and empowering the Black community, and that, yeah, we can do this. We've done it before. We can do it by ourselves. So that's what I wanted to focus on, and then from there kind of move off to other things, again, like going into science. Who are some Black scientists that we can reach out to? Inventors. I mean, we're finding out every day more and more how many Black people invented things,
Right.
that we use every day. And so just that's kind of the next step after that.
All right, that is awesome. I feel like Muhammad Ali would be pretty easy to do, because he was kind of, people kind of put him in the rapper category
Hmm.
already, or like a poet. So it's just like so many of his quotes would fit perfectly into a song. So I would be like really excited to see that. And I'm glad that you spoke on just that we celebrate our history, but we don't amplify the trauma,
Yeah.
because like there's so much like trauma within our history, and I feel like that gets pushed more than a lot of our glows. So I'm glad that you like have already kind of like kept that in mind with your work.
No, most definitely. Yeah, like, I mean, it needs to be shown. Of course, like, we need to talk about it. Like, essentially the episode, and I'll just give you a preview of what I was thinking on my mind with like the Black Wall Street. We have the successes, we're celebrating it. At the end, we see, as we pull out from the city, the torches of what
Mm.
happened. And then we put up the picture or the newspaper article of what happened, because I don't want kids to think, oh, this was great and it was all, I want kids to know, like, we can't let something like this happen again. Like,
Mm.
we have to understand this was successful, then people who are just hateful came in and destroyed it, and this was the cost of that. And then, maybe hopefully getting teachers and parents to actually sit down and talk to their kids about, okay, how did that make you feel and what happened
Mm.
with something like that.
No, I like that. I feel like if you gave like a guide for parents, I mean, I think that'd be like very useful because it's kind of hard. Like, are you yourself a parent? Or you have
Yes.
kids?
Yeah,
So
I
it's
got
like,
three.
wow. It's just like, how is that like really explaining to your children what it's like to be Black in America? Like, how does that conversation go? And well, how have you done it?
Well, so we kind of showed, so we started off simple because, the kids were starting to ask questions. Um, so we live in a predominantly white area of Indianapolis. So we live in, um, yeah, we live in a predominantly white area. It's mostly red. And so the kids go to school with mainly white kids. So some of the things that were being taught, me and my wife were like, okay, this is not good. And the kids basically were coming home and saying some weird stuff. So we were like, okay, no, we can't have this. So we sat down with them and we just kind of explained to them, and we showed them examples. So we showed them, we watched a couple of documentaries and stuff like that. And then we just asked them, we said, how did that make you feel? Seeing that or hearing that. And, our daughter, I mean, she was pissed.
Wait, how old are your kids now?
So Isla is 9 and Justice is 11, and then we have a newborn. So, or not, she's not newborn anymore. She's 1. Um, and at the time we talked about this with them, I believe, was this 2 years ago? So yeah, Justice was 9 and Isla was 7. Um, when we talked to them about it. So Isla, she basically was angry. Like, she was crying, but she was also like, she's like, I'm just so angry. And Justice was kind of in disbelief. I mean, he was kind of holding his emotions back. We could tell he was upset and that tears were rolling, but he just was in disbelief. And we just told him, we were like, this doesn't mean that everybody who, for instance, is white is bad. We're not saying that.
Mhm.
Or this is not saying that everything about America is bad. What we're saying is this is stuff that happened. And unfortunately, there's people out there who don't want you to know this. And
Mm.
there's people out there who don't want your friends at your school to know this. And so, and this prevents us from being able to make a better future for all of us. So, and again, we just told them, we are like, you guys don't have to go to school and debate kids. You don't have to tell them they're wrong. You don't have to do that. We just want you to know this now, so that whatever you're learning at school cannot derail you or
No,
give you misinformation.
yo, that's beautiful. And I can understand because like when I first learned more about our history and deaths, I understand that anger because it's just like it's kind of like why like racism to me is mental illness. There is no reason to hate
Yeah.
me or treat me lesser than because of
Yeah.
my skin color. But unfortunately, that's the system that we live in, and it's very unhealthy to just dismiss the conversation or to erase our history because those that don't learn their history are doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
And we can have another Black Wall Street. I see that more people in our community are working towards that, but we also need to recognize like, okay, when are the torches coming?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. So it's just like I thank you for that. I think like I said before, if you were to I guess put a guide together for parents, because I feel like with some parents it's hard for them to articulate or to even know how to start the conversation really, because most of the time you're just when you're in the thick of life you're working, You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're just in the moment of just trying to make a living and keep everything sustained. But it's just like those are the conversations that we need to have in the household if we're not going to have it in the school building.
Yeah, and well, and the one thing with Playwatch, so even on our platform, which again is more focused towards early learning, but we do have content that is geared towards older kids. And for anything that we do, we have a lesson plan, or we have, hey parents, this is what you can do with the kids, or this is how you can talk to the kids about the subject. And it's all based on a curriculum that before for stuff like Black History Beats, I do think that would be an interesting thing to actually talk about because and a great idea because I really wasn't thinking about, yeah, how do parents, especially like, and again, we can't really do this, you know, we can't do this. um It'll be hard to do this on, for commercial reasons because, if we're like, hey, Black parents, this is how you talk to your kids. Um, of course, people are going to be like, wait, what? What are you trying to tell them? So I think it's more of a conversation that, I mean, we just have personally, and, and something we have like a Black History Beats Instagram account that, I think it would be a good idea and going off of what you said, to post that there and just be like, hey, yeah, this is how you can talk to your kids about this stuff. This is how you can kind of guide them. Um, and then just have more of a generalized guide of, hey, parents, this is how you talk to these subjects, talk about these subjects with your kids on the actual platform.
And I would love to see that for real. And I think that'd
Yeah.
be so many parents would definitely appreciate that. Well, so what's next for Playwatch? Like I know that you are in collaboration with Blurred Station. So like what do you guys have in mind as like you're coming aboard?
So it's actually interesting. I was surprised that we were reached out to because a lot of the content that I see on Blur Station is, of course, it's a lot of anime and a lot of stuff that's geared more towards an older audience. So it was interesting when, we were reached out to about our kids content. And I was like, one of the reasons why I wanted to start Playwatch was because even on a lot of Black platforms, there's no kids content for Black kids. Like
Mhm.
it's always focused towards, adults. And I was like, that would be interesting to kind of introduce this kind of content to kids. So, I mean, moving forward, I would hope that maybe this could be a partnership that can turn into like an early learning or like a cartoon, Cartoon Network had Toonami,
Mhm.
but then, Cartoon Network also had their other shows. So like the Blurred Station, of course, is the Toonami with the anime, and Playwatch is okay. Here's your other cartoons. Here's your Gumball. Here's your, Teen Titans Go. Here's your, for the younger kids type of content.
I don't know if those are the best examples. I've watched Gumball and some of Teen Titans Go. There's some jokes that's more catered to an older
Yeah.
audience, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be very true, I'm like Gumball's a little bit too deep. Like, wait a
Oh yeah.
minute.
Oh, there
I
was
don't.
what? No, my kids were watching Gumball, and I think it was the new it's not the Cartoon Network Gumball, it's the Hulu Gumball. I'm spacing on the name, but anyway, they're watching the new Gumball, and there was an episode where they were like talking about working for billionaires and how they're never going to pay you what you're worth, and and I'm just sitting there listening to what they're saying. Of course, they're saying it for kids. But I was listening to it and I'm like, holy crap, like the kids are getting this stuff and they're allowing this to play out in a cartoon. And I mean, yeah, like it's deep. I mean, the kids, they sing the damn pyramid scheme song that from Teen Titans Go all the time. So I'm like, yeah, I guess they're teaching them something.
Okay, fair point. Fair point. It's just like just to have something more digestible for the younger blurs, the baby blurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see this partnership. Where can everybody find you on social media?
So for Playwatch, we have a Instagram. I actually no, we just have an Instagram right now. We're still trying to expand. So we have an Instagram and a Facebook at Playwatch Kids. Then you can just go to playwatchkids.com is our website. Um, and then for me personally, you can find me at Monarchs Comic. Um, and then I also have my own stuff. So I got, my own comics and stuff like that. So monarchscomic.com if you're interested in checking out some of the stuff that I have going on there. I got a comic series called Monarchs. That's got 4 chapters. I just dropped today the first couple of pages for a new thing called My Daughter is a Monster Slayer, which I'm super excited about that.
Ooh.
Yeah, so and that's on Patreon right now, but next week I'm trying to have at least 2 episodes ready for Webtoon so that I can, stay on track and not fall behind. But it'll be on Webtoons next week.
That's awesome.
So
I've seen like little bits of like my daughter is a like demon hunter. That's an amazing concept. I love because I grew up with Buffy. So
mhm,
you know what I mean? So just to see like it's not just like a black person, but it's just like a cute little black baby that's fighting demons, like that is so awesome to me. I can't wait till that series drops because I'm just
yeah.
like that is so awesome. I'm really excited for all the projects that you're doing. And I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, hopefully we could come across some grants and you get all the blessings because you are worth investing. What you're
Thank
doing
you.
is worth investing, and whether it is on PBS or is with Blur Station, your work deserves to be seen.
Well, thank you for that. And I just well, first off, I want to thank you for doing this because I've been doing this for a while, and I am so happy to see more people, especially in the Black space, doing just any kind of media. Period. I feel like that's been lacking for a while, so I am so happy to see this thing come together. Blurred Station bringing all these people together, doing things that I wasn't even thinking about. So I am definitely blessed and thankful for that, to just be in this community that's amazing and around a bunch of amazing people like yourself who are really trying to push positive content out there, especially for our kids, because they need to see it and they need to see that they can do what we do and not be discouraged by the craziness going on in the world.
Here, here. And see how you guys glowed from that conversation? I'm gonna catch you guys next time.